The night sky over Earth looked calm, painted with stars and soft clouds drifting over sleeping cities. But above that peaceful blue, something massive moved. Silent, cold, and watching. At first, the astronomers thought it was a comet, glowing faintly in the distance. Then it changed direction. Comets don't do that. When the first signal reached Earth's satellites, confusion turned into fear. Hundreds of massive objects were entering orbit, ships so large that entire countries could see their shadows crossing the moon. All across the world, news screens flashed the same headline: Unknown vessels detected, possible extraterrestrial origin. Governments went silent, military bases locked down. Every major nation pointed their defenses to the sky. People ran into the streets, staring up, filming, praying. Some thought it was the end of the world. Then the clouds began to glow red. Something was entering the atmosphere. Not one, but many. Fireballs streaked through the night, roaring like thunder. They weren't meteors. They were landing craft. In a small desert outpost, Captain Ria Torres of the Global Defense Force stood at her radar screen, watching as red blips covered the map. Her voice was calm, but her heart wasn't. "They're landing. In every major region," she said quietly. Her second officer swallowed hard. "Do we respond, Captain?" She looked up at the sky through the window. The clouds burned like fire. "Not yet," she said. "Let's see what they want." Moments later, the ground shook. Something heavy touched down outside the base. A black metallic structure 3 stories tall, shaped like a blade stabbed into the earth. Dust exploded in every direction. The air filled with a low, vibrating hum that made the soldiers cover their ears. Then the door opened. From the red mist stepped figures, tall, armored beings with glowing blue veins beneath silver skin. Their faces were covered with masks, their eyes shining with cold light. They moved with strange mechanical grace, scanning the ground with devices that made sharp clicking sounds. "They're soldiers," whispered one of the human guards. And then it began. Without warning, the alien soldiers raised their weapons and fired. Blinding energy bolts cut across the desert, burning through tanks and walls. The human defense line collapsed in seconds. Captain Torres shouted orders, but the radios screamed with static. The alien weapons jammed every signal, every drone, every camera. It was chaos. But then something strange happened. One of the alien soldiers stopped moving. It froze mid-step, its weapon still raised. Its blue eyes flickered, once, twice, then went dark. The soldier fell to its knees, trembling, then collapsed completely. Another followed. Then another. Within seconds, the entire squad of invaders lay motionless in the sand, their armor still glowing faintly. No bullet had touched them. No explosion had hit them. They just fell. Captain Torres lowered her gun, breathing hard. What the hell just happened? In orbit, aboard the alien command ship Valkyrian, Commander Varric Tor watched the feed in disbelief. "Status report," he demanded. A technician's voice trembled. "Commander, ground units have collapsed. Life readings are unstable. Cause? Unknown. No enemy fire detected. Systems are shutting down on their own." Varric Tor's face darkened. His kind had conquered dozens of worlds. None had resisted like this. He turned to the holographic display showing Earth's surface, glowing with strange electromagnetic patterns. "This planet. It's interfering with our systems," he muttered. "How?" Down below, in a hidden underground lab beneath Colorado, Dr. Aaron Miles watched the same event on his monitors. His hands shook as he whispered, "It's working. Project Mirror is working." A young technician beside him looked up, confused. "Sir, you mean we actually—" Miles cut him off. "Keep monitoring. Do not send a signal. The system must stay invisible. They can't know we're behind it." On the screen, the alien corpses twitched, as if something was still trying to control them, then went still again. The doctor leaned closer. "They thought we were helpless," he murmured. Let's make sure they never forget this moment. Above the planet, the alien fleet adjusted its orbit. Thousands of ships floated like black spears against the curve of Earth. They began charging their main cannons, preparing for full retaliation. But as the energy built up, strange interference rippled through their systems. Displays went dark. Navigation failed. Some ships turned their weapons toward each other, firing by mistake. Explosions lit the night sky like fireworks. Down on the surface, people all over the world looked up. First with terror, then confusion, then awe. The invaders were fighting themselves. In Tokyo, a group of children on a rooftop pointed and screamed as burning pieces of alien metal rained down like shooting stars. In New York, soldiers stood on skyscrapers watching alien wreckage fall into the ocean. Across Europe, radio stations played only static, but it wasn't random. The static had rhythm, a pulse, a message. Captain Torres listened closely through her damaged headset. The pulse repeated 3 words, faint but clear. They can't win. She didn't know who sent it. She didn't care. Hope spread through her like fire. All units, she shouted, regroup, take back the city, we fight now. As dawn approached, smoke covered half the horizon. The alien fleet struggled to recover, sending wave after wave of drones down to Earth. But each wave fell faster than the last. From his command bridge, Varector clenched his metallic fists. These humans, how are they doing this? His officer hesitated. Commander, it's as if the planet itself is fighting back. Varector looked at the blue marble below him. Then we will crush the planet. The command was given. The alien superweapon began to charge, but deep underground, Dr. Miles typed a final command into the Project Mirror system. A soft voice from the computer said, reflective field expanding. Blue light rippled across the sky, invisible to the human eye. A shield of pure energy spreading around the planet like a second atmosphere. When the alien weapon fired, its own energy beam hit the shield and turned back. From orbit, Varector's fleet saw their doom coming. The reflected blast struck their ships with impossible force. One by one, they exploded into light, scattering across the heavens. On Earth, people cheered, cried, and prayed. The invasion that was supposed to end humanity had only just begun to reveal Earth's secret strength. Captain Torres stood under the rising sun, covered in dust, looking at the burning sky. They came to conquer, she whispered, but they were never ready for Earth. In space, the wreckage of alien ships drifted silently. One damaged pod still floated, carrying a faint signal back to the alien empire. A single message repeating over and over, do not return. Earth fights back. The smoke of the first battle still hung over the cities. Broken alien ships lay burning across deserts, oceans, and mountains. The world was silent, but that silence didn't feel peaceful. It felt like the pause before another storm. In the command ship Valkyrian, Commander Varector stood before a shattered holographic map of Earth. His glowing eyes flickered with anger. Around him, his officers moved carefully, afraid to speak. The mighty invasion fleet, a force that had crushed a dozen worlds, had lost hundreds of soldiers and ships within a single night. How could this happen? He demanded. Explain it. An engineer trembled. Commander, we don't know. No human weapon hit us. Our systems simply turned against us. Varector's metal hand slammed against the control panel. Sparks flew. Machines do not turn against their masters, he roared. Then quieter. Something on that planet is corrupting our technology. He stared down at Earth, its blue surface calm and innocent. But he knew now, this planet was no helpless world. There was something waiting beneath its surface, something dangerous. Down below, deep under Colorado mountains, Dr. Aaron Miles watched the alien ship data on his monitor. His face was pale, his eyes tired, but there was a spark of satisfaction in his voice. The mirror system reflected 89% of their attack energy, he said. That's beyond expectation. His assistant, a young woman named Lara, looked worried. Sir, what if they try again with more power? The system is still experimental. If it overloads, Miles cut her off. Then we all die, but they will die first. He turned to the glowing console showing an energy pattern. Earth's new invisible defense shield. Project Mirror was built for this moment, he whispered. They thought humans were weak. Let's show them what weakness really looks like. Across the world, survivors gathered. In cities like London, Tokyo, and New York, people came out of bunkers and shelters. They looked at the sky, where alien ships still floated like dark clouds. The news spread fast. The aliens were losing power. In the middle of the chaos, Captain Ria Torres stood on a ruined street, her uniform torn, her face covered in dust. She looked at the burning wreck of an alien craft. Inside, the technology was strange. Smooth metal, glowing blue symbols, and energy cores pulsing faintly. Her radio crackled. Captain Torres, this is command. We're regaining signal control. What's your status? She smiled faintly. Alive. And I think we've just captured something valuable. She turned to her team. Secure this ship. Whatever made them fall, In orbit, Varector paced. Deploy the second wave, he ordered. A new fleet of drones launched, smaller, faster, unmanned. They screamed through the atmosphere toward Earth. Their goal, find and destroy the source of the interference. On the surface, global defenses came alive. Project Mirror was powerful, but it was not perfect. Small drones slipped through, landing across the continents. They crawled through ruins, scanning everything with red light. In the mountains near Colorado, one drone found something. It stopped above a hill and detected the faint energy signature of Project Mirror's underground base. It sent a signal. In orbit, Varector's eyes glowed brighter. There you are, he said coldly. Prepare the planetary strike. Erase that region. Inside the base, alarms blared. Dr. Miles looked up in panic. They found us, he said. We have incoming? Lara's voice trembled. Can the shield stop an orbital blast? He shook his head. No, it was designed for reflection, not absorption. If they target directly above us, he didn't finish the sentence. The walls began to shake. Activate the backup network, he shouted. Route all power to the mirror field. On the surface, beams of light fell from the sky, alien plasma cannons lighting up the mountains. But instead of exploding, the light bent, curved upward, and struck back toward space. The reflection hit 3 alien ships, destroying them instantly. Miles laughed weakly. It still works. But his joy didn't last. The power gauges spiked. The system was overheating. Contain it, he shouted. If it blows, we lose everything. At that same moment, Captain Torres was examining the inside of the alien ship she'd captured. One of her engineers called her over. Captain, look at this, he said, pointing at a cracked screen full of alien symbols. It's transmitting something, Torres frowned. Translate it. Her tech nodded, fingers flying across the console. After a moment, the translation appeared. Their planet speaks. It bends our energy. It knows us, Torres's eyes widened. Their system thinks the planet is alive. Before she could respond, the ground shook again. An explosion in the distance. She grabbed her radio. Command! What's happening? A voice answered, broken with static. They found Project Mirror. The mountain is under attack. Torres clenched her fist. We're going there. In orbit, the battle grew worse. Alien ships fired blindly into the atmosphere, trying to hit the hidden base. But each shot caused more damage to their own fleet. Varector's officers shouted over alarms and failing systems. Commander, if we continue firing, our core reactors will... Silence, Varector snapped. We finish this or we die trying. He turned toward the planet, eyes blazing. They think they can reflect our power? Then let's give them power they cannot reflect. He ordered the charging of the planetary destruction cannon, a weapon so powerful it could melt the surface of an entire continent. As the weapon charged, the entire fleet trembled. The energy buildup was unstable, the system not meant for this level of output. But Varector didn't care. His pride burned hotter than any star. Back on Earth, Dr. Miles watched the readings spike higher and higher. They're going to fire the main cannon, he said. If they do, the mirror system won't survive. We'll be fried with them. Lara's voice was small. Then what do we do? Miles looked at the screen showing the alien ship's position. We buy time. We need to reach the global command. Tell them to use the captured ship. Maybe we can send a feedback pulse into their fleet. She nodded and ran to prepare the transmission. But deep down, both of them knew. Time was running out. Outside, the sky turned blood red. The clouds twisted into spirals of fire. People across the world looked up, terrified. Something massive was coming. In the alien command ship, Varektor raised his arm. Fire! A blinding white beam shot downward, cutting through clouds, splitting the air. But just before it hit the ground, the mirror field flared one last time. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Then the light reversed. The entire beam curved back, striking the Valkyrian itself. The explosion was like a second sun over Earth. The shockwave spread across the sky, shaking every ship in orbit. When the light faded, only half the alien fleet remained. The rest was gone, burned away by their own weapon. In the silence that followed, Varektor's voice echoed through the remaining ships. This is not over. Humanity will pay for this defiance. On Earth, Captain Torres watched the sky brighten with fire. She didn't know how, but somehow humanity had survived again. Dr. Miles sat in his control room, exhausted, staring at the burning clouds on the monitor. He whispered to himself, they'll come again. And next time, they'll learn that humans don't give up. The world was still recovering from the second strike. Cities lay in ruins, skies dark with smoke, but humanity was alive. The alien fleet had been broken again, though not destroyed. And somewhere beneath the mountains of Colorado, Dr. Aaron Miles stared at the flickering lights of Project Mirror. Knowing the truth, their victory had come at a terrible price. The system was damaged. The reflection grid had burned out in several regions. If the aliens struck again soon, Earth would not be ready. But there was something else, something Miles had not told anyone, a secret buried deep within the heart of Project Mirror. The next morning, Captain Ria Torres arrived at the underground base. She walked through long metal corridors filled with engineers and soldiers trying to repair the system. Sparks flew from broken panels. Alarms still blinked faintly red. Dr. Miles stood near the central console, wearing the same dusty lab coat he had worn during the battle. When he saw Torres, he gave a small nod. Captain, you made it, Torres crossed her arms. We barely did. Half the world is on fire. I came for answers. What is this project really, Doctor? No one seems to know where it came from. Miles didn't answer immediately. He turned toward a large holographic globe, showing Earth surrounded by faint energy waves. It started 12 years ago, he said quietly. Long before the invasion, Torres frowned. 12 years? That's impossible. We didn't even know about them then. He looked at her, his eyes tired but sharp. Oh, we did. We just didn't tell the world. He walked toward a sealed room at the far end of the lab. The door opened with a heavy hiss, revealing a chamber filled with strange technology. Curved silver panels, glowing tubes, and a circular object floating in midair. It looked alien. Torres stared. What is that? Miles replied softly. A gift. Or a warning, depending on how you see it. It fell from the sky in 2115. A probe, alien in design, broken but alive. Governments covered it up. They called it a meteor crash in the Sahara. He stepped closer to the hovering object. When I first studied it, I realized it was sending signals, not to its creators, but to something inside Earth, as if it was searching for something here. Torres's eyes widened. You mean it was communicating with us? No, Miles said. It was communicating with energy. Earth's magnetic field, its natural resonance. The probe was mapping it, and I learned how to control it. He walked over to a computer terminal and typed a few commands. The lights dimmed. A holographic pattern appeared. Waves of blue light forming a globe that pulsed like a heartbeat. This is what Project Mirror became, he said. A system that bends energy the same way Earth's field does. A reflection network. The idea was simple. Use their technology against them. Torres watched, fascinated. You turned the planet into a mirror, Miles nodded. Exactly. The moment they attacked, their own energy was redirected back to them. But, he paused, it's not perfect. The system is unstable. The energy it uses, and it's not entirely human. Torres frowned. What do you mean? Miles hesitated. Then he whispered, "When we first activated the probe, it responded. It changed. Something in it woke up. A sudden tremor shook the base. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alarms began to flash again. Torres drew her weapon instinctively. What now? Miles checked his monitor. His face went pale. They're scanning us. The aliens found the probe signal. They're listening. Up in orbit, Commander Varric Tor stood on his bridge, watching a giant display of Earth's energy readings. A strange pulse was coming from the planet's northern hemisphere. Steady, rhythmic, familiar. He narrowed his eyes. That signal, it's ours. His second officer looked confused. Commander, are you saying they're using our technology? Varric Tor growled. No, I'm saying they're using our own mind against us. He turned to his crew. Find the source. I want that probe destroyed. Now. Back underground, Miles and Torres raced through the corridors as explosions echoed above. The aliens had launched a new wave of precision drones, each one targeting the probe's energy trail. Torres shouted over the alarms. We can't defend the base and keep the system running at the same time. Miles didn't answer. He was staring at the glowing orb inside the chamber. The alien probe. It pulsed brighter and brighter like it was awake. Lara ran up behind them, panicked. Doctor, the probe's energy is rising on its own. It's reacting to the attack. Miles stepped forward slowly. It's defending itself. Suddenly, a beam of light shot upward through the mountain, straight into the sky. Everyone shielded their eyes. The energy wave spread across the clouds, creating a massive shock that knocked the alien drones out of the air. They fell like stones, burning up. When the light faded, the probe floated silently again. Torres exhaled. What just happened? Miles stared at the orb, his voice trembling. It acted on its own, like it knew what was happening. Hours later, the base was quiet again. Torres and Miles sat in the control room, surrounded by tired soldiers and scientists. Torres finally spoke. You're saying this thing might be alive? Miles didn't look at her. I don't know. Maybe it's artificial intelligence, or maybe it's something else. A consciousness built from their energy. But one thing is clear. It's connected to Earth now. Protects us because we activated it. Torres frowned. And if it stops protecting us? He turned toward her, his eyes dark. Then Earth becomes just another burned world in their archives. Far above the planet, Varric Tor watched the data feed. His remaining ships had regrouped. The humans have something powerful, his lieutenant said. Their defense uses our own frequency. It's impossible. Varric Tor's voice was cold. Nothing is impossible. Send the signal to the Empire. Tell them we've found a weapon we did not create. He looked at Earth one more time. Tell them the humans have awakened the hidden hand. Back on Earth, Dr. Miles stood alone in the chamber. The probe floated quietly, glowing with a faint blue pulse. He reached out a hand, hesitating. In that moment, he heard something. Not through his ears, but in his mind. Voice, soft, metallic, almost human. Do not fear, Aaron Miles, you woke me. I will protect this world. For now, Miles froze. His heart raced. He looked at the probe, whispering, Who are you? The voice replied, echoing inside his mind. I am the memory of those who came before, the ones they destroyed. You call me a weapon, but I am a survivor. Before he could respond, the lights flickered. The voice faded. The probe went silent again. Dr. Miles stood there, shaken. He realized something terrifying. Earth wasn't just defending itself with alien power. It was being defended by something ancient. Something alive. As dawn broke over the ruined mountains, Captain Torres looked at the sky and whispered, We're fighting a war we don't even understand. And far beyond the stars, in the deep void of the alien empire, Varric Tor's message reached its destination, a fleet even larger than his own. Thousands of eyes opened in the dark, and a single command was given, prepare the second invasion. The morning after the second invasion attempt was quiet, too quiet. Smoke covered half the horizon. The sun struggled to shine through the haze, and the air smelled of burnt metal. But under that silence, something was changing. Humanity was no longer afraid. Humanity was preparing to fight back. In the underground base, Captain Ria Torres stood beside Dr. Aaron Miles. The room was full of soldiers, engineers, and scientists. Maps of the world glowed on digital screens. showing alien landing zones across continents. Every country had lost something. Cities destroyed, millions displaced. But still, people were standing, rebuilding, and fighting. Torres looked around the command center. "We can't just keep defending. We need to strike back." Dr. Miles nodded slowly. "Agreed. Project Mirror saved us, but it's not enough anymore. We have to make them feel what we felt." He turned to the holographic display and pressed a button. The new logo appeared on the screen. A dark circle with a glowing blue edge. "Project Dawn," he said. Everyone in the room fell silent. Torres frowned. "Another project?" Miles replied, "No, an evolution. Project Mirror was defense. Project Dawn is offense." He zoomed in on the hologram. When the probe activated, it didn't just protect Earth. It copied alien code. Their drones, ships, even their communication network. "We can use it. We can turn their own fleet against them." Torres stared in disbelief. "You're saying we can control their ships?" Miles smiled faintly. "If we play it smart, yes." Far above, in the void of space, Commander Varektor's damaged fleet was slowly regaining order. The alien commander stood in silence, his reflection shining on the glass of his command deck. Half his fleet was gone, but his pride burned stronger than ever. "The humans fight like nothing we've seen," said his lieutenant. "Our drones are failing to synchronize." Varektor didn't reply. He stared at the planet below, blue, fragile, stubborn. "They are learning too fast," he muttered. "We must end them before they evolve further." He turned away. "Deploy the subjugation pods. I want prisoners. I want to study them." On Earth, small alien pods rained down again, but this time the humans were waiting. In the deserts of Nevada, anti-aircraft systems locked onto the pods the moment they entered the sky. In Africa, guerrilla fighters used modified alien rifles to destroy incoming drones. Everywhere, humanity fought with a new kind of fury. In New York, Captain Torres led a special strike team through ruined streets. Alien drones flew overhead, scanning the area with red light. "Stay low," she ordered, moving between broken vehicles. Suddenly, one of the drones spotted them. It fired. But before the blast hit, a pulse of blue light flashed from a small device on Torres's arm. The energy beam bent sideways, hitting a nearby building instead. The drone crashed. One of her soldiers stared. "What was that?" Torres smirked. "A gift from Dr. Miles. The device was part of Project Dawn, a portable field unit powered by the alien probe's technology. It could bend energy, just like Project Mirror, but in smaller form. For the first time, soldiers could reflect attacks on the battlefield." Meanwhile, in the underground lab, Dr. Miles and Lara worked without rest. Screens displayed alien code, glowing symbols running like liquid light. Lara asked, "How long before we can take control of one of their ships?" Miles replied, "We already did." He pressed a key and a small holographic model of an alien fighter appeared on the screen. This drone was captured and reprogrammed using their own AI language. "It's now fully under our command," Lara smiled. "Then we can attack them in orbit." "Not yet," Miles said. "But soon." He looked at the glowing probe floating quietly in its chamber. "We just need more power." The probe pulsed once as if it heard him. That night, humanity struck back for the first time. Over the Pacific Ocean, dozens of reprogrammed alien drones took flight, silver and blue, darting through the clouds at incredible speed. Behind them followed human stealth jets armed with hybrid weapons. Their target, an alien relay station orbiting just above the atmosphere. In space, the alien outpost detected the incoming force. "Unidentified crafts approaching," said a technician. "Destroy them," ordered the commander. Energy beams cut through the blackness, but the human drones moved faster, their mirrored fields bending every shot. The alien station tried to fight back, but within minutes it was overwhelmed. The final explosion lit the night sky, visible even from Earth. The world saw it and cheered. On the Valkyrian, alarms screamed as data streams vanished. "Commander," an officer shouted, "our orbital outpost is destroyed. Signal lost." Varektor's voice was calm, but his tone was like ice. "How?" "They used our own code. The attackers were our ships." For a long moment, Varektor said nothing. Then, slowly, he turned toward the viewing screen. "Impossible," he whispered. "No primitive world could rewrite our systems this fast." His claws tightened around the command rail. "Find their leader. Whoever built that weapon, bring me his name." Back on Earth, Captain Torres stood in the war room. The success of the orbital strike had spread hope like wildfire. News channels called it the dawn of Earth's retaliation. But Torres wasn't celebrating. She knew this victory would only make the aliens more dangerous. She turned to Dr. Miles. "They'll come for you now. You know that, right?" Miles looked tired but determined. "Let them come. They wanted a war. Now they'll have one." He stepped closer to the control board. "Project Dawn is expanding. Soon we'll control the entire lower orbit. For the first time, Captain, humanity will not just survive. We'll fight in space." Torres smiled faintly. "About time." Meanwhile, deep in space, Varector's fleet prepared for counterattack. But something strange was happening. Several of their ships were losing power one by one. Their lights flickered, systems crashed, and some ships even turned. The commander's voice roared through the bridge. "What is happening?" A frightened engineer replied. "Our systems are being overridden by an internal source." On the main screen, alien symbols began to appear, but they weren't random. They formed a pattern, the same pattern Dr. Miles used to activate Project Mirror. Earth was already inside their network. In the Colorado base, Dr. Miles watched alien systems collapse in real time. Lara gasped. "They're losing control." Miles nodded. "Exactly as planned. We infected their network weeks ago. Their arrogance blinded them." He leaned closer to the screen, whispering, "Now you see. Commander Varector, Earth fights in ways you never imagined." The probe behind him pulsed again, brighter than before. Miles turned uneasy. "What's happening?" The lights dimmed. The air hummed with static. Then a voice echoed inside the lab. "You have learned well, Aaron Miles. But power demands balance." "They are not the only ones watching." Miles froze. "Who's watching?" The voice faded. Only the sound of the machines remained. Lara looked at him nervously. "What was that?" He shook his head. "Something older than both of us." High above in the vastness of space, the alien fleet burned and fell. For the first time in galactic history, humans had turned an invasion into a counterattack. And yet, as the last alien ship vanished into the dark, Dr. Miles couldn't shake one thought. Maybe the real war hasn't even started yet. The world was changing faster than anyone could believe. Only weeks ago, Earth had been on the edge of extinction. Now, humanity was fighting back and winning. Every news channel showed the same image. Alien ships falling from the sky, burning as they crashed into the ocean. People cheered in the streets, waving flags, crying with relief. For the first time in history, the entire planet stood together. But far below the surface, deep inside the Colorado base, Dr. Aaron Miles wasn't smiling. Something about their recent victory felt too easy. "Captain Torres," he said quietly, looking at the holographic map. "Do you notice it? Their main fleet hasn't moved for hours. No retaliation, no communication. It's like they're waiting." Torres frowned. "Maybe they're regrouping." Miles shook his head. "No, they're observing. They're letting us think we've won." He turned to the glowing probe hovering in its chamber. "And that voice I heard, it wasn't alien. It felt different. Ancient." Lara, who was running diagnostics nearby, looked uneasy. "Doctor, the probe's readings are off the charts. Its energy levels have tripled since last night." Miles stepped closer. The probe pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. "It's evolving," he whispered. "It's learning from us. And them." Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, Commander Varector stood before his war council. Half his fleet was gone. The humans had used their own ships against them. Shame burned in his chest. "Report!" he growled. An officer replied nervously, "Our systems remain compromised. The humans' code continues to spread through our network. Tired divisions are offline." Varector clenched his claws. "Then wipe the network. Destroy all infected vessels." "But, Commander, do it!" The officer hesitated, then obeyed. One by one, alien ships self-destructed. Bright flashes across the void. The commander watched them burn. "If we must rebuild, we will. But this planet will pay for its defiance." He turned toward the dark expanse of space. "Activate the annihilator array." The bridge fell silent. "Commander, that weapon hasn't been used since the Wars of Origin." "I am aware," Varector said coldly. Earth has earned extinction. On Earth, Dr. Miles suddenly looked up from his console. The energy readings. They're changing. Something massive is charging in orbit. Alarms echoed through the base. Captain Torres ran in, her voice firm but urgent. "Talk to me, Doctor." Miles pointed to the sky map. "The aliens are preparing a planetary weapon. If it fires, it could vaporize half the planet." Torres froze. "Can we stop it?" Miles stared at the probe. "Maybe, but it's risky." The team gathered around the holographic table. Dr. Miles explained his plan. Project Mirror still connects us to the alien network. If we amplify its frequency through the probe, we can reflect the weapon's energy back at them. Lara frowned. "But the probe's energy is already unstable. If it overloads, it could destroy everything," Miles finished. "Yes, but if we do nothing, we lose Earth anyway." Torres crossed her arms. "So it's a gamble," Miles nodded. "The biggest one in human history." There was a long silence. Then Torres said quietly, "Do it." Hours passed as the world's defenses prepared for the final strike. Every major city went dark to conserve power. Satellites aligned with precision, forming a network around the planet. In the Colorado base, the probe glowed brighter and brighter, its pulse syncing with the global defense grid. Dr. Miles wiped sweat from his forehead. "Power at 92%. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The alien weapon had begun charging. Lara shouted, "The beam's forming!" "We're out of time!" Miles slammed his hand on the console. "Now activate Project Mirror." A flash of blue light burst from the probe, brighter than the sun. All around the world, the sky shimmered like liquid glass. The alien beam fired from orbit, a massive column of energy descending toward Earth, but the mirror field caught it. The planet shook. Oceans boiled. Mountains cracked. Then slowly the beam bent backward, turning upward toward space. The energy reversed course, surging straight into the alien fleet. In space, Varric Tor's eyes widened. "No, this cannot be." The reflected energy struck his command ship, tearing through its shields like paper. One after another, the fleet exploded, their own weapon turned against them. The sky above Earth glowed white. Then a silence. Minutes passed. When the light faded, half the alien armada was gone. The rest drifted powerless across the void. Earth was safe. For now. But inside the Colorado base, alarms began to sound again. "The probe's overloading." Lara screamed. "It's absorbing the leftover energy. It can't contain it." The entire room shook. Sparks flew from the walls. Miles ran to the control board. "We need to shut it down." Torres yelled, "If it explodes, it'll take us all out." Miles turned to her, eyes burning with resolve. "I can contain it, but I have to interface directly." Lara grabbed his arm. "You'll die if you do that." He smiled faintly. "Maybe, but Earth will live." He placed his hands on the probe's containment field. Electric arcs surged through the room. His body tensed, but he didn't move. The light from the probe surrounded him, wrapping him in a storm of energy. Torres shouted his name, but he didn't hear. His mind was somewhere else. He stood in a vast void of light, face to face with a being made of pure energy. It was neither alien nor human. Its voice echoed in his mind. "You have touched forbidden power, Aaron Miles. You have become the bridge," he whispered. "Who are you?" "We are the architects, the ones who built the first worlds. The probe you wield was never meant for your kind." Miles took a breath. "Then why let me use it?" "Because you chose defiance, and in defiance we see life." The being raised its hand. "But your world must be tested. The mirror cannot hold forever. Choose wisely, save your planet or ascend beyond it." Miles clenched his fists. "I choose Earth." In an instant, the light exploded outward. On the surface, the mountains cracked open. A column of white energy shot into the sky, then vanished. The probe was gone. So was Dr. Miles. Only silence remained. Hours later, Captain Torres stood among the ruins of the base. The air smelled of ozone and dust. Lara approached quietly. "He did it." The overload stopped. Torres nodded slowly. "He saved us all." She looked at the sky where faint stars shimmered through the smoke. Somewhere up there, a whisper echoed. Soft, distant, almost human. The silence. That was the first thing he noticed. No sound, no air, no body, just existence. Dr. Aaron Miles floated in a sea of endless light. The last thing he remembered was touching the probe and the blinding explosion that followed. Now, he was nowhere and everywhere. He tried to breathe, but he had no lungs. He tried to move, but he had no body. Am I dead? He thought. Then a voice answered, deep, ancient, and calm. You are between life and memory. Miles turned, or thought he did, and saw them. Shadows made of stars. Tall, radiant beings moving through light like it was water. The architects, he whispered. You're real. We are the beginning and the echo, one said. You called upon power not meant for flesh, yet your will endured. That makes you something new. Miles frowned. New? What does that mean? You exist now as part of the network. The mirror you built has become your bridge. You can see what others cannot. Below him, the image of Earth appeared, glowing blue against the darkness. He could see everything. The cities, the oceans, the people rebuilding after war. He could feel their hope, their fear, their strength. It was like he was connected to every heartbeat. They survived, he whispered in awe. Yes, the architects replied, but survival is only the first step. Others have noticed your defiance. Miles's heart, or what was left of it, grew heavy. You mean more aliens? Not like those who invaded you. Greater ones, civilizations older than time. They have seen what you did. A young world turning back an empire, and they are curious. Miles stared at Earth. Then I have to protect them. You are no longer one man, Aaron Miles. You are something far beyond human limits. But protection comes with understanding. Watch, learn, awaken. Suddenly his vision expanded, the universe unfolding before him like a map. He saw distant stars, dying worlds, and massive fleets drifting through the dark. He saw the remains of Varektor's fleet, broken ships still orbiting Jupiter, flickering with weak signals. Then deep inside one of the wrecks he saw movement. Impossible, Miles whispered. Inside the ruined flagship, Commander Varektor still lived. His armor was cracked, his body burned, but his rage kept him alive. He crawled to a glowing console. They think they've won, he hissed. But I've seen the truth. That probe was no weapon, it was a beacon. He entered a sequence of alien symbols. A portal of dark energy opened before him, swirling and alive. From within it came whispers, cold, inhuman voices that made even Varektor tremble. He smiled. Let them come. Back on Earth, the planet was healing. Cities were being rebuilt. Humanity had seen the stars and refused to kneel. Captain Ria Torres stood on a mountain ridge overlooking a new base under construction. The sky above was clear, peaceful. Beside her, Lara carried a small data chip, all that was left of Project Mirror. I still can't believe he's gone, Lara said softly. Torres sighed. He's not gone. He's out there, somewhere. She looked up at the stars. He gave us a future. Now it's our turn to make it count. Suddenly, her comm unit beeped. Captain, you need to see this, a voice said. Torres frowned. What is it? A signal. Coming from space. In orbit, the signal pulsed rhythmically, a pattern of light and code. Lara analyzed it on her tablet. It's his signature. It's Dr. Miles. Torres's eyes widened. You're sure? 100% he's trying to communicate. The data flickered, forming strange symbols, part human, part alien. Then a voice came through the speakers. Ria, Lara, listen carefully. It was him. The room fell silent. Dr. Miles? Lara whispered. I don't have much time, the voice said, distorted but clear. I'm alive, in a way. The probe changed me. I'm connected to everything now. I can see them, Ria, the ones behind the invasion, the real threat. Torres clenched her jaw. What do you mean? Varektor wasn't the leader. He was just a soldier. There's a force out there, a civilization of ancient minds. They've seen what Earth did, and they're coming. Lara swallowed hard. Can we stop them? Maybe, but not with the weapons we have. I'm working on something. A defense beyond anything we've built. I'll send you the coordinates soon." The signal began to fade. "Wait!" Torres shouted. "Aaron, where are you?" "I'm where the stars are born," the voice whispered. "Don't give up, Rhea. The war isn't over. It's just beginning." Then the signal vanished. Lara stared at the screen, speechless. Torres exhaled slowly. He's alive. Somehow, he's alive. She looked out the window, her eyes burning with determination. Then we prepare. Whatever's coming, we'll be ready. In the depths of space, Aaron Miles watched them from the other side of reality. He felt their courage, their fire, their will to fight. The architect's voice echoed softly. "They will look to you, Aaron Miles. You must guide them, but not control them." He nodded. "I understand." "Good," the voice said, "because the storm is coming." Miles turned his gaze toward a faraway star. Beyond it he could sense a presence, vast, cold, and powerful, moving toward Earth. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, a shadow that covered light itself. He whispered to himself, "So this is it, the real war." Then his eyes, now glowing like twin stars, flared brightly. With a thought, he reached out through the cosmic network, awakening hidden satellites, dormant ships, and secret human weapons across the solar system. Humanity's new protector had awakened. Back on Earth, Captain Torres looked up at the night sky. A new star shimmered brighter than all others, a silent promise that Dr. Miles was still watching. Lara stepped beside her. "Do you think he'll come back?" Torres smiled faintly. "He never left." The camera zooms out, Earth glowing blue in the darkness, surrounded by faint ripples of light. Somewhere far away, the enemy was coming. But this time, humanity wouldn't face it alone, because their greatest mind had become their greatest guardian. Dr. Aaron Miles, the man who turned the tide, had become something greater, something eternal. The stars above Earth glowed brighter than usual. Every telescope, every satellite picked up strange readings, massive energy distortions at the edge of the solar system. For weeks, humanity had been rebuilding, hoping the war was over. But deep down, everyone knew it wasn't. The invasion had been only the beginning. Now, the real enemy was coming. In the Colorado base, Captain Rhea Torres stood before a giant digital display showing the solar system. Red dots, enemy signatures, filled the screen like a spreading infection. Lara rushed into the room. "They've arrived," she said breathlessly. "Thousands of ships, maybe millions. It's an entire empire." Torres's face hardened. "Then we stand together." Around her, the command center buzzed with urgency. Pilots readied their ships, engineers activated orbital cannons, and soldiers around the world prepared for what might be the last battle of humanity. Far beyond, the moon, the alien empire known as the Echelon Dominion, emerged from hyperspace. Their fleet was so vast it blotted out the stars. Towering dreadnoughts floated like black mountains, their weapons glowing red-hot. At the front of the formation, a massive flagship, the Sovereign Star, pulsed with unimaginable power. On its bridge stood the Supreme Warden of the Echelon, a being wrapped in golden armor, its eyes burning with cold light. "The humans have defied us," it said. "They destroyed our vanguard and corrupted our network. Their courage is inefficient." Another alien commander bowed. "Shall we erase them, my lord?" The warden's voice was like thunder. "No, we will crush them, and their defiance will become legend." Back on Earth, Captain Torres watched the skies through reinforced glass. "Dr. Miles," she whispered, "if you're still out..." As if in answer, every screen in the command center flickered. Static filled the room. Then a voice echoed through the speakers. "Rhea, I'm here." Everyone froze. It was him. The holographic projectors flickered to life, forming a glowing figure, translucent, human-shaped, but with eyes of pure light. It was Dr. Aaron Miles. Lara's eyes filled with tears. "You came back," Miles smiled faintly. "Not exactly. I'm still part of the network, but I can help. The architects gave me access to something old, Something built before even the echelon existed. Torres leaned forward. What is it? Miles's voice grew steady. The Ark Protocol. A planetary shield, and a weapon that can only be used once. Miles raised his hand, and holographic patterns appeared, rings of light surrounding Earth. If we channel the mirror energy through every orbital station, we can form a shield strong enough to deflect their first strike. But to fire the Ark, we need a single point of control, someone on the surface. Torres stepped forward. I'll do it. Lara grabbed her arm. Rhea, that's suicide. Torres looked at her with calm determination. He saved the world once. It's my turn. Miles looked at her with quiet pride. Then let's make this count. Hours later, the world prepared for its final stand. The Echelon fleet moved closer, their energy weapons charging. On Earth, cities went dark. All power was rerouted to the planetary defense grid. In orbit, thousands of human and reprogrammed alien drones formed defensive lines around the planet, glowing like a swarm of fireflies. Torres stood in the control chamber, surrounded by flickering lights and shaking walls. Her voice came through every channel on Earth. This is Captain Rhea Torres, Earth Defense Command. No matter what happens, and hold your ground. For Earth, for humanity. The first strike came. A beam of red energy, large enough to split continents, fell from the sky. The shield flared bright blue as it absorbed the hit. The ground shook, oceans roared, and the sky turned white. For a moment, it looked like the planet would break. But the shield held. Cheers erupted across the globe, but Miles's voice broke through the noise. They're charging a second wave, stronger. We can't take it twice. Torres clenched her fists. Then it's time. Fire the Ark. In space, thousands of satellites aligned into a single glowing ring around Earth. The probe's energy, the same that had transformed Dr. Miles, surged through them. Building to an impossible level, the atmosphere shimmered as light bled into the heavens. Miles's voice echoed through the network. Humanity, this is your moment. Everything you've endured, every scar, every loss, it leads here. Let them see what it means to stand as one. The Ark activated. A massive pulse of blue-white energy erupted from Earth, spreading outward like a supernova. It passed through human ships harmlessly, but tore through the Echelon fleet like fire through dry leaves. One by one, alien warships exploded, their cores melting under the force of reflected energy. The flagship Sovereign Star tried to resist, its shields glowing gold, but the beam pierced straight through it. Inside, the Warden roared in disbelief. This cannot be! Miles' voice echoed across the void. It can, because you never understood us. You thought humanity was weak, but we fight for each other. The alien flagship disintegrated into light. The remaining Echelon ships turned to flee, vanishing into the darkness between stars. The war was over. Hours later, the blue glow around Earth faded. Cities slowly came back online. People stepped out of shelters, blinking at the morning sun. The planet had survived, scarred but alive. Lara stood outside the command center, looking up at the calm sky. He did it, she whispered. Torres, weak but smiling, nodded. They did it. For a moment, the wind was still. Then a voice echoed softly through the radio. Faint, distant, yet filled with warmth. Good work, Rhea. Humanity's future is yours now. Lara looked around. Aaron? But there was no reply. Only the sound of the breeze and the distant rumble of life returning to the world. Far above, in the quiet of space, a single light drifted among the stars. It was what remained of Dr. Aaron Miles, now a being of pure energy, watching over the world he had saved. The architect's voice whispered to him, You chose well, child of Earth. Miles smiled. They didn't need gods. Just a chance. He looked back at the blue planet below, small, bright, defiant, and they'll never stop fighting. Narration ends as the camera zooms out. The Earth glows quietly, wrapped in the fading shimmer of the Ark. Beyond it, 1,000,000 stars await. And among them, humanity's story is only beginning, because sometimes Miles's voice echoes one last time. The smallest world,